live stream. I tried these previously and they didn't go very well, but I think what I did wrong was I asked you guys to come to me with your grammar questions. So I'm going to give it one more go. I'm going to try it one more time, but I'm just going to change it a little bit. So I want to do differently. So what I want to do differently this time is I'm going to get you to do some writing, and I'll see what grammar mistakes you're making, and I'll talk to you about how to fix those, why they're wrong, and explain the grammar to you that way. So we're going to focus on grammar, but rather than you coming to me with grammar questions, I'm going to get you to do your writing and give you feedback, explain to you what your grammar problems are, and then give you a better idea of if you do have a grammar problem, what is that problem and how to fix that problem. Hi, Chioma. Welcome to the lesson. Good to see you here. Javier, good to see you here too. Am I recording? I am. I am indeed. These live streams are always recorded. So you'll see the recording of the live stream as soon as it's finished, it gets uploaded. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I have this question here. So the question is, some people think that governments should spend money on railways rather than roads. It's an old IELTS question. You've likely seen it before. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now, we're not worried. I'm not worried about the ideas today. What I want to check is your grammar, as I've mentioned. So I have some ideas. So let's say I agree with this, and my first idea is that it's better for the environment. Okay, so to begin, what I want you guys to do is to write down what the topic sentence would be for the first body paragraph. So body paragraph 1 is going to be, so the opinion is going to be, I agree. Body paragraph 1 is going to be about this idea, better for the environment. Okay, so we'll start at that. I would like you to write body paragraph 1. No, that's not what I wanted to say. I want you to write the topic sentence for body paragraph 1. So the topic sentence would just introduce the idea. Okay. So share that with me in the comments, and then I'll give you feedback on your grammar. From Samarkand in Uzbekistan. Very good. Welcome to the lesson. Hi, Lewis. Good to see you here. Oleg Beck, evening to you. Welcome. Hi, Versailles. Good to see you here again. Adil, hope you're fine and doing well. I am indeed. Thank you. You too. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm going to let you guys write that topic sentence and share it with me, and then I'll give you feedback. Mayank, hello to you. Welcome. Good to see you here again. Abdul, hi sir, I learned a lot from your videos. Good. Good to hear. Could you please repeat what we're supposed to do? You're a bit late. Yeah, so we have a task 2 question, and we're just imagining what would you write as the topic sentence for body paragraph 1 if I'm going to say that I agree, and my first reason for agreeing is that it's better for the environment. So just how would you write that introduction, not introduction, how would you write that first sentence, the topic sentence for body paragraph 1? So I'm just trying to get a feel for what grammar mistakes everyone is making so that I can give some feedback on that. Hey, Prince, good to see you here. Adil, the main reason why I agree that a higher budget should be allocated for railways is because they are beneficial for the surrounding. Okay. So let me take that. I'll add it to the screen and we can see how we could potentially improve on that. It's a good piece of writing already. Okay. Okay. So the main reason why I agree that a higher budget should be allocated for railways. Now, the question, it doesn't necessarily say that a higher budget should be allocated. It's just saying they should spend money on railways rather than roads. So it's not that they should spend some on roads, some on railways, but you're saying more on railways than roads. The question just says in general, do you think it's better, should they spend the money on railways or roads? So you're not really given an option of the proportion. So let's just say, I agree that money should be allocated for railways. The reason why I agree that money should be allocated for railways is because it's an unusual one. We need to say is that. Now, you will hear the word because used a lot, especially in spoken English, where because is used again and again and again. But technically, grammatically, for grammatical accuracy, that is the correct word. So it's something you hear a lot. It's something that native speakers would use incorrectly a lot. When I'm speaking, I would use that incorrectly, but it's academic writing for, an IELTS test. So we do need to get that correct. So that is in fact the correct one, not because is that they are beneficial for the surroundings. Now, surroundings needs to be plural, but that's not really a vocab. That's not really a grammar. That's more like a vocab. We would never say the surrounding. It's always the surroundings. So you can learn that as a fixed phrase. So all in, it's more vocab problems that we're looking at than grammar problems. And also it's a good piece of writing. It's a complex sentence, so it helped push up your score to 7, and 8. So yeah, it's a good piece of writing. Okay, next one, Stan. Hey, Stan. Good to see you here. Allocating taxpayers' money to construct railways is more eco-friendly than roads. Okay. So just a small mistake there. Let me grab that and I'll add it to the screen here. Okay. Allocating taxpayers' money to construct railways is more eco-friendly than roads. So when you're saying than roads, what you're comparing here, than roads is a comparison with construct railways is more eco-friendly. So the word than is connecting roads with constructing that. So that's not what we want to do. We want to compare it. Let me show you how we want to do it. We just want to move that around. I'm not sure how unclear that was, but you'll see what I mean when I move it. So allocating here, allocating taxpayers' money to construct railways instead of roads. Or you had rather, am I right? What did you have? Yeah, so you had than. So we could say rather than roads is more eco-friendly. So now what we're doing here is we're comparing roads and constructing railways like that. Whereas before you had constructing railways is more economical and than roads. So you're comparing that whole thing with roads, whereas we only want to compare constructing railways with roads. So you have to have the rather than here. So that's a problem with the sentence structure and largely related to the cohesive device. So it is a grammar mistake, but also the cohesive device is used in the incorrect place. One more thing I would say with this, you could add that this is the reason for your opinion. So, the first reason I believe, something like that, the first reason why allocating taxpayers' money to construct railways rather than roads. Why? It's better to construct railways rather than roads is that it's more eco-friendly. So that would be just to make sure it's super clear that you're talking about why you think agreeing is the correct, why you think it's correct, or why you agree. Okay, but again, overall, a good piece of writing there. Lewis, first, investing in railways rather than roads is a more environmentally friendly option. Perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. That's 100% accurate. Well done. Abdul, I believe spending on railways. Okay, so let me grab that one and we'll add it to the screen. Okay. So first of all, we wouldn't put a comma here. A comma after I believe isn't necessary because that's the main part of the sentence. So if we have like a little introduction and then a comma, it would have to be extra information. So like, let's say, for example, if you wanted to say something about when, like yesterday, comma, and then you have the main part of the sentence, or, in my country, comma, and then the main part of the sentence. So normally when you see a comma after the first, 2 or 3 words in a sentence, it's because you're establishing where you're talking about or when you're talking about. So very often you're establishing where or when, and then there's the comma and the main part of the sentence. But what you had with I believe and comma, that would never be the situation. So I believe spending on railways, so that's a small R for railways, will stop people to stop using their own vehicles for long journeys. That will reduce carbon footprints. Okay, so we'll stop people to stop. We need a preposition, stop people from doing something. So it's always stop someone from doing something. And with prepositions, you'll have to learn that as a fixed phrase. So like, or a semi-fixed phrase, stop someone from doing something. So like you have here, stop people from using something. Okay, for long journeys. So you have many people. So it's not just one journey, it has to be plural journeys. More than one person, more than one journey. Okay, I believe that spending on railways will stop people from using their own vehicles for long journeys, and that will reduce. So this is, and that will reduce their carbon footprint. And then a full stop at the end. So for you, it seems like punctuation are your most common mistakes. You had a comma here where you didn't need one. You had no full stop here where you did need one. You had a capital R for railways. So that's 3 punctuation mistakes you've made in this sentence. So that would definitely be the main one for you to focus on. And when you're trying to improve your use of prepositions, it has to be learning them as collocations, like as a piece of vocabulary. You can't just, it comes down to when you are learning vocabulary, you need to learn the correct preposition. So if you just learn the word stop, and now you're trying to say stop someone, or what comes next, if you haven't learned it, how you can only guess. You have no option but to guess. So when you're learning vocabulary, make sure you learn the full phrase. If there's ever a preposition being used, include that in what you record in your vocab notebook, and make sure that you're learning that full phrase rather than just learning the word stop, but learning stop someone from doing something. Like learn those 5 words. Then when you need to use it, you can just substitute in the words you need, like, stop my brother from, taking my headphones, whatever it is. But if you learn a full phrase, then you can just replace the bits you need. But if you just learn one word, you just have to guess. You have no choice after that. Okay, good. XIX, hello to you. Welcome. Okay, so we saw that one already. Versailles, the first reason why it is better to allocate government resources to railways rather than roads is that doing so impacts less on the environment. Some very small mistakes there. Overall, a good sentence, but let me just add it to the screen here, and I'll show you what you can do to improve on that. Okay. So the first reason why it is better to allocate government resources to railways rather than roads, so not in roads. So in the same way, resources to railways rather than to roads. So you got it right the first time, but you got it wrong the second time. So it's still the same thing. Allocate resources to something. Allocate resources to something. So you got it right the first time. So just keep it consistent. The thing is, when we have a preposition and we're discussing two different things, it will apply to both. So what we can do is delete this one, because this too, resources to railways rather than roads. So the word to here will still apply here. So we don't actually need the second one. So I can just delete that instead. So let me show you here now. Okay, so this two roads I can just delete. Definitely not in roads. You could put two roads there, it would be correct, but we don't need it. So it's actually better not to have it. Okay, the first reason why it is better to allocate government resources to railways rather than roads is that doing so impacts less on the environment. Impacts less on the environment. Impacts the environment less. So more naturally would be impacts the environment less. Okay, so just those few little things there. Again, overall, a good piece of writing, but a few things to consider, and prepositions. And like I was saying to Abdul, you know, it's about learning those collocations. However, you did learn it already. You said resource allocate something to something else, but you forgot and then just had the wrong preposition the second time. Okay, good. Yeah, but no problem. That's what we're here for, Stan. Okay. So we have two sentences here. Which one am I using? Sanction for the construction of railway lines instead of roads for the governments. Trains. I'm not sure what to do here. More money sanctioned for the construction of railway lines instead of roads by the government. Is this all one sentence, Mayank? Is this supposed to be one sentence? I'm supposed to take this, and then add this to it? Or is this two? I'm not sure what to do there. Just let me know. Let me know, and we'll look at it. Hey, Sammy. The government should have an environmentally friendly option for mode of transportation. No, because now you see the reader won't know what the question is about. So if you look at the one we have on the screen, you know, the first reason why it is better to do this. So, you know, I'm looking at the second paragraph. We're looking at the first sentence of the second paragraph in the essay. There will be a first paragraph where you paraphrase the question and you give your opinion. You might outline your ideas there, but now we're talking about the first idea. So the sentence on the screen now is the start of the second paragraph in the essay, but we would still establish that we're talking about why we agree, and we're giving the first reason why we agree. So we need to make that clear. And from what you've said, it sounds like you're giving a suggestion for what you think governments should do, rather than stating the first reason for agreeing. Okay, Mayank, yes, it is combined. Okay, no problem. So let me take those two and I'll add them to the screen. Just one moment. Okay, here we have it. So, and okay, so first of all, like what I can see straight away is whatever's going on here, we have a full stop followed by a small letter. So there's definitely something wrong here. We'll get to that, but it does jump out at me that there's something wrong with that. Excuse me, where am I? Okay, so more money sanctioned for the construction. So sanction is different. Maybe more money spent on the construction of more money spent on the construction of railway lines instead of roads by the government. Now, in the question, it doesn't say anything about more, and we talked about that with one of the students earlier on as well. So I'm going to delete more. The question doesn't say more, and it looks like you're giving a suggestion. So we need a modal verb here. Money should be spent. Okay. So now this is a passive structure. Money should be spent on the construction of railway lines instead of roads by the government. Okay. So now it's a suggestion, and when you use should, you're showing that it's your reason for agreeing. And this, we need to delete that full stop because this is all the same sentence. Now, when you say the government, and this is a bit of an unusual one, where in most situations, when we talk about the government, we say the government, we have an article at the front of it because we are talking about the government of the country where we live. So, if I talk about the government, I'm talking about, the government where I live. If you talk about the government, you're talking about the government where you live. But in this situation, we're talking about governments generally. So it's not just one government or the government in your country, but we're talking about governments from many countries around the world. So we need to delete that and make it an S, because we're not just talking about one country, we're talking about many countries. Okay, money should be spent on the construction of railway lines instead of roads by governments in order to save the environment, because more people travel by trains and would use less private vehicles, because more people would. So again, we have another modal here, because now we're imagining what the future would look like. So if governments spent their money on railway lines, the result would be. Now, governments aren't doing that, so we're imagining what would it look like? What would the world look like if this happened? So this is a conditional. Imagining that happening, what would happen in the future? So modals seem to be something that you need to work on. You've made the mistake with this modal here, where it was missing and it wasn't clear that you were giving your opinion, and you're missing this one here, so it's not clear that we're imagining a situation, a hypothetical situation, because more people would travel by trains and use fewer private vehicles. Okay. So yeah, a few changes needed to be made. Punctuation, modals. I think those are the main ones that we changed. Yeah. Okay, good. Sammy, you're very welcome. Mayank, no problem at all. Okay. So we've probably looked at most of the people in attendance. So let's jump on to the next one. Again, I'm going to look at another topic sentence, but this time for the second body paragraph. So what would be the first sentence for the paragraph about why I agree? It reduces traffic congestion. So the second reason I agree is it would reduce traffic congestion. Okay, so again, I'll just get you guys to write the topic sentence for the second body paragraph about my second idea for agreeing it would reduce traffic congestion. So again, write the topic sentence, share it with me, and I'll give you some feedback on that. Abdul, I already looked at your first round, so I'll just wait and see what you produce for the second body paragraph. Okay, so I have one here from Abdul. In addition, using trains for transport purposes will reduce traffic congestion. So it's not using trains for transport purposes, it's spending more money on railways. So we need to make it clear that we're still talking about the question. So that's more of a vocab thing. But nevertheless, let me grab it there and we'll look at it. Okay. In addition, using trains for transport purposes, no. So investing more money in trains. Investing more money in trains for transport purposes. So we can just delete that. So it has to have the same meaning. It has to be clear that we're talking about the question. So investing more money in trains will reduce traffic congestion, and that can save the traveling time. Save traveling time. We just say save time. Traveling time isn't really a conventional phrase, and that can save time for passengers. Maybe commuters. But this is more of the outcome. So again, this isn't a grammar problem. So basically what I've corrected are all vocab problems here. But I would probably, in that last part, you're talking about the result of reducing traffic congestion. Probably leave that until later in the paragraph. you know, you'd want to explain your idea before you start talking about the result. Okay, and Adil, another reason why I am of the opinion. So when you say I am of the opinion, and you have to finish that, another reason why I am of the opinion that money should be spent on railways is that when more money on railways than roads is spent, traffic congestion is reduced. Good. So that's the only thing. When you have I am of the opinion that, and you have to say what the opinion is. That phrase has to go there in full like that. Lewis, second. Secondly would be better. Government spending money on railways rather than roads helps reduce traffic congestion. Perfect. Good. Neozov. Investing in railways rather than roads can significantly reduce environmental pollution as trains produce fewer emissions compared to vehicles. Good. Maybe compared to private vehicles, might change that vocab, but that's good. What you could add here is something like this, you know, secondly, or another reason why that would improve your coherence and cohesion. In terms of the grammar, this is perfect. Very strong. Hey, Pierre, good to see you here. Mayank, another reason why the governments should expand the budget of railways. No. So we're not talking about expanding the budget. We're just saying in general, is it better to spend money on railways or is it better to spend money on roads? So it's not that they should expand it. It's not that they should spend more. It's not that they should spend more on this one and less on this one. They're not saying that. It's just a general topic. Is it better to spend on railways or roads? You know, so we don't want to say expand the budget. We're changing the idea there. So another reason why governments should spend money on railways would be less vehicles running on the roads result. Okay, so let me just copy this. I'll add this to the screen. We'll have a look at this one here. Okay. Another reason why the governments, so again, it's not the governments, we say the government, because if we're talking about the government from our country, so if I'm talking about my country and I say, oh, you know, the government is helping people do this or helping people do that. So when I say the government, I'm talking about a specific government, the government of my country. But when we're talking about governments in general, we don't need the, because we're just saying in general governments rather than a specific government or a specific group of governments. So another reason why governments should expand the budget, so we talked about that already, should spend money on railways would be, so now this is the subject of your sentence. So if we go back to kind of like the basics, if we go back to the basics of sentence structure, we have subject plus verb plus object. So this is a basic clause. This is what a basic clause looks like. So if you think of it here, another reason why governments should spend money on railways, that is the subject of your sentence there. Okay. So now we need the verb is that. Now we need a new clause because we need another verb. There would be less vehicles on the roads. So what you have then is another reason why government should spend money on the railways. That's acting as the subject. Now you've used why, and that allows you to put a verb within that, but that's a new clause. But that acts as the subject, and then your verb is here. Is. You need another verb. There would be. You need another verb. You can't have two verbs in the same clause. So that's why we're using that. And the word that allows you to start a new clause. So is, and then the subject, the object of the sentence becomes a new clause. That there would be fewer vehicles on the roads, resulting in less traffic on the roads. Now, we've already said on the roads here, so we wouldn't say on the roads again there. So just kind of be aware of, where are the verbs in your sentence, and how you need to manipulate that. So here, basically, you have 3 clauses. How can you manipulate the structure so that you need a new verb? Well, if you need a new verb, you need an infinitive or a gerund if it's going to be inside the subject or the object. Or if it's not going to be one of those, it has to be a new clause that gets added. XIX, very intensive and insightful as always. Thank you. I wish I could participate more in this lecture, but I need to prepare things before I go to bed. Fair enough, makes sense. And you already have your scores, so not as necessary. Versailles, another reason to favor spending on railways rather than roads is that this measure would result in less traffic congestion. Perfect, 100% accurate. Hi, Karamboy, good to see you here. Moreover, less traffic congestion is another benefit of spending more money on railways instead of roads. Just that one preposition mistake there, Stan. Let me just copy it in to confirm, just to make it clear for you what we're talking about. Here, moreover, less traffic congestion is another benefit of. So it's always going to be a benefit of something. And we were talking about prepositions earlier in the lesson, and I said you have no choice but to just learn them like you would a piece of vocab, or the way you would learn how to spell a word. It's like that. You need to know what preposition goes with what word. There's no real clue from the preposition to indicate what preposition you would need. If we're talking about a pen, put the pen on the table, under the table, next to the table. Prepositions make sense when they're being used in that way to show location. But when they're just being used as a piece of grammar to, join a verb with a noun or whatever, they don't really make sense beyond there's only one correct one for each context, and you have to learn them individually. So a benefit of something, it will always be that. So you need to learn it that way. Okay, so it seems like that is the final response for today. Hopefully you guys have learned something from that. I kind of feel like that was more beneficial than my previous grammar live stream. The last one was not helpful for anyone, which is why I decided to stop. I think this is a bit more helpful. I'm not sure. Maybe you can let me know in the comments if this was something that you would like to do again, or do you think we should just focus on, like in my other live streams, focus on, one area of the IELTS test. I don't really mind. If it's helpful, I'm happy to continue. If it's no use, then better do something useful. Okay, that's it. Lewis, you're very welcome. If any of you guys are looking for one-on-one support, you can contact me there. And yeah, see you next time. Take care. Bye.